Alright guys, so we're back today with another video. What we're going to be covering today is what to do with your backpack and your gear when you've got your hammock set up like we had it set up in the last video. So I'm going to go ahead and set everything up just like we had it the other day and show you 3 options for what to do with your pack. First thing we need to do is set our camp up. Alright guys, so I've got my camp set up just like I had it the other day. Got my Wise Owl tarp above me, my hammock and bug net right here. A super comfortable camp that has a lot of space under the tarp and a really comfortable bed in just a short amount of time. So now let's go over what do we do with our pack and our other gear. So your first option for your pack would be just to hang it from the tree that your hammock is attached to, and that works pretty good. But if it's going to rain, your pack's probably going to get wet. Of course, you can always put a rain cover over it, which is going to keep most of your gear dry, but that's not the best option if it's going to rain. Option 2 is just to lay your pack on the ground on top of some sort of plastic sheet, and that works great too. But if it rains a bunch and water runs under your tarp, then the ground's going to be wet and your gear's going to be wet. So option 3 is just to clip it up to the carabiner that your hammock's attached to, and that's something that I've never tried before, but we're going to look at that today too. So let's go ahead and dig in. Okay, so let's look at option number 1, which is hanging your pack just from the tree. Now it is going to be out in the rain if it happens to rain, but if you got clear weather, this works pretty good. I'm going to start with a piece of paracord with a loop in one end, and I'm going to use that to kind of make a lasso around this tree. And then I'll run this down and I'll tie a marlin spike knot in the line. Then what I'll do is I'll put this carabiner through there just like that. Now, if you didn't have a carabiner, you could just put a little stick through here that your pack could be hooked onto. But in this case, I'm going to use this carabiner. So now you can take your pack and clip it by the grab handle to that tree. And we're at a perfect height to just reach in and grab whatever we want while we're at camp. Now, if you need to protect your pack from rain or dew, if it's just going to rain a little bit, you can pull out your rain cover. Slide that over your pack and you're good to go. Now the problem is the back of your pack is exposed and then the rain cover creates a bucket. So for just, moisture in the air at night, this is going to work perfect, but for a rain, this kind of leaves something to be desired. Okay, now we're on to option 3, which is just leaving your pack right on the ground. If it's going to be pretty dry, again, this is a great option. And I would recommend sitting this on like a trash bag or a small tarp just to keep it dry. Or we can just use the pack's rain cover. Slip that over the pack, lay it like this, and we're good to go. Now this does make it kind of hard to get into, but there's no openings where water can get under your pack even if it rains pretty heavy. So this is normally what I do when I hammock camp, and I just have something to sit my pack on to keep it fairly dry, and this works really, really good. So now we've got a third and final option that's going to keep our pack under the tarp where it's going to stay dry, and it's going to keep it off the ground where ground moisture won't be a problem. So let's look at that option. Okay, so this is our carabiner that attaches our hammock to our tree straps, and for option 3, we're just going to put our pack on there and let that sit. Now you can see that kind of pulls our hammock funny because I do have weight in my pack. But when I lay in the hammock, but you can see now that I'm sitting in the hammock, everything's good. So the tarp that I've got up today's tarp barely covers the pack, so it probably would even get wet doing this. All right guys, so I hope that kind of helped you figure out what to do with your pack when you're hammock camping. You can hang it from a tree, you can hang it from your hammock straps, or you can just do like I do and sit it on the ground. Now, there are a few pieces of gear that you don't want in your pack. You want them right next to you. And you got 2 options for that gear. So option number 1 is just to use this little stuff sack that the hammock folds into and is attached to the hammock, and you can put some stuff in there, and that's what I do a lot of the time. So I'll put, my knife and my flashlight in there, and it becomes kind of like a nightstand. But I also got a piece of paracord attached end to end on my hammock. And what that's for is to make sure that my hammock stays at the same angle every single time I lay in it. and it's really easy just to clip some gear off that, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. All right, so I've got this line held up with my hand because it's hanging a little bit low right now. But what you can do is you can hook stuff over this line, such as a small flashlight, or in this case my headlamp, to keep that right there handy to grab when you need it at night. So a lot of times I'll hang my knife up there, stuff like that I may want to grab in the middle of the night. Keep that hanging off of this line right here. You can even hang your socks up there to dry from your day of hiking. You know, the possibilities are pretty much endless. I've just got my Petzl headlamp container with a loop on it. That works super good for your headlamp. It kind of turns it into a lamp. All right guys, so I hope you were able to learn something from this video, and I hope this showed you that even if you're camping on a hammock and you don't have a tent where it's pretty much obvious you just sit your gear inside, you can actually have your gear very readily accessible when you're in a hammock. And in some cases it's actually better for gear storage, because when you set your pack down, it's not in the way of you sleeping like it would be in a tent. So again, I really like a hammock camping setup, and there's a lot of options for storing your gear when you're in a setup like this, and I hope that you learned a couple of new ways to do that in today's video. Thanks for watching.